When I saw this video, the first thing that came to mind is please stay there. Stay in that position. You have enjoyed every single thing you have enjoyed. You trying to come and tell us now that this is actually what you want to do? No! Tyler Magic Green, please stay there. Enjoy. Keep enjoying. Is it now that you realized that every single thing that is happening is not going according to your constitution and is not going according to your conscience? Just have it at the back of your mind that no matter what you do, black people will never still trust you. And I get the fact that you want to make it look like, oh, it is not because of the 2028 election. This is why this is what I'm doing. Happy for you to make that decision. I'm so happy for you. But have it at the back of your mind that once bitten, twice shy. You have beat us, you have bite us, you have done every single thing to us. And as at this point, guys, watch this video. Credit belongs to original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. And let me know what your honest truth is in the comment section. Please, your honest opinion alone is what I want to hear, especially as a black person. Let's watch. I'll be back with commentaries.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C. and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest. And the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I've fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass a plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas, just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years. They actually do their own grocery shopping and no food costs too much. Their rent has increasingly gone up and up. They have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house. They have been laid off after being forced to train their visa holding replacement. The college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary. They see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I've been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years. The district is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hardworking people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated dangerous open border invasion into America. And I led the effort to defund hard-left politically biased NPR and PBS and the corrupt USAID, and I did that as chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. I traveled the country for years. I spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of nonstop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family. But it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026. And I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
So let's talk about this Marjorie Taylor Greene resignation and what it really is, because headlines are soft walking it, and the MAGA crowd is doing everything it can to pretend like the house ain't on fire. But we got to understand that this is the first major fracture inside the MAGA movement, and it happened right at the moment that Trump can least afford to look weak. And weak is exactly how this makes him look. Because you got to understand that MTG was Trump's attack dog, and even she couldn't ride with him anymore. Marjorie Taylor Greene was Trump's loudest megaphone. She defended him through scandals, through indictments, impeachments, conspiracy theories, everything. So if she's jumping ship, that's not normal. That's not great news for the country like Trump tried to spin it. That's a warning shot from inside the house. Because when the most loyal people leave, they leave because they've seen too much. The truth is, she didn't leave, she fled. She didn't resign because of policy disagreements. She resigned because she accused Trump of mishandling the Epstein files. The one topic MAGA refuses to let go. And just look at the facts. She said Trump's behavior was destructive to the movement. She said he was protecting people in his own circle. She pushed for those Epstein files to be released. She publicly clashed with Trump on camera about it. Then the DOJ announces the files are coming out. And suddenly, she's gone. That's not coincidence, that's pressure. This is what happens when you get too close to the truth inside Trump's world. They don't fire you. They isolate you. They humiliate you and force you out before you can talk. Trump's reaction shows his guilt, not his strength. Trump called her resignation good news for the country. That is classic psychology. When he feels betrayed, he immediately switches to, I never needed you. You were dragging me down. You're irrelevant now. But the truth is, if it was great news, he wouldn't have spent 3 days attacking her, blaming her, and trying to distance himself from the same woman he once praised as a MAGA warrior. This is ego damage control, not leadership. And what's worse, this exposes a bigger problem. MAGA is not united. It is splintering. The Epstein files issue has turned into the biggest internal fight MAGA has ever had. What MTG represents is this. MAGA voters want the Epstein files released. Trump wants to control the timing and the narrative. People in his circle are allegedly implicated, so he's stalling. That delay is making his own base suspicious, angry, and impatient. This isn't Democrats tearing him down. This is his own army turning the flashlight back to him. Let me tell you something. When your movement starts doubting you, that's when you lose control. The GOP is quiet, and that's how you know they're scared. Greene's resignation shrinks the Republican majority in the House. That basically means more gridlock, a new special election, a chance Democrats could flip the seat, more infighting over who gets Trump's endorsement. Republicans are not celebrating this. This is panicking, quietly, because fractures like this don't stay small. They rip through the whole party. The long-term damage to Trump is bigger than people realize. This is the real political danger for Trump. He looks untrustworthy to his own base. For the first time ever, his people are saying, is he hiding something? Is he protecting the wrong folks? Why won't he release the Epstein files? Why is he attacking his own allies? Once that doubt creeps in, authoritarian leaders start to crumble. And trust me when I tell you, Trump knows this. His whole entire movement is built on loyalty, not policy. And once loyalty cracks, the whole thing falls apart. MTG leaving means Trump's aura of control is completely gone. In politics, you judge a leader by this question. Are people staying close to you or running away? Right now, people are running. The same woman who once worshiped the ground that he walked on is now calling his behavior destructive, questioning his decisions, and publicly ripping the Band-Aid off of the MAGA myth of total unity. This is the moment that the movement stops being a machine and starts being a mob. Everybody confused, suspicious, and pointing fingers. So you gotta understand that Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't just resign. She exposed something Trump has been trying to hide since January. He's losing control of his movement. He is losing control of the narrative. And the Epstein files are the crack that finally broke MAGA in half. You don't have to like her. You don't have to agree with her. But understand this. When the loudest soldier in your army puts down her weapon, and walks off the battlefield, it means the general isn't leading anymore. And that is the truth that America needs to hear.
We all know that Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned last night.
I'll be resigning from office.
But you probably didn't hear what AOC said about it. She's carefully timing her departure just 1 to 2 days after her pension kicks in and after making millions of dollars insider trading stocks for weapons manufacturers and others while in office. She is saying a lot, but her actions have not backed up her rhetoric. For all her talk, she's still voting with them to gut healthcare and advance self-dealing corruption schemes. Adios, MTG.
Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning because she refuses to be a battered wife to Trump is the funniest thing we've seen all year. Oh, please, nobody believes that you suddenly found your dignity. You did discover, though, is that once Trump pulled the endorsement, the spotlight for you dimmed real fast. Allegedly, whatever you're trying to keep hidden under the rug is getting just a little too loud for you. Let's be honest, politicians don't resign out of respect for themselves. They resign when something's coming, when they don't want the public to see something they'd rather step away to focus on before it hits the fan. Sure, blame the big bad orange man, because it's easier than just admitting that that's the reason why you're sprinting out that back door. And calling yourself a battered wife, that's not empowering. That is a PR move wrapped in a Lifetime script. You can get pushed out. You're jumping because the cliff you're hanging on, well, it's fucking cracky. Republicans aren't buying it. Democrats aren't buying it. Independents aren't buying it. Your own district is not buying it. The only ones who are buying it is the ones who think that Washington is still about feeling instead of power, leverage, and who's hiding. Oh yeah, she's resigning, and allegedly, she's hiding something. And guess what? We're all just gonna sit here with popcorn waiting for Chapter 2. So Marjorie Taylor Greene, enjoy your retirement, because I'm sure whatever it is will come out. But I thought you were America first, weren't you? But you're giving up on America.
All right, happy Friday evening. It's about 8 p.m. West Coast time. One of the things that I've greatly enjoyed over the last several days, because Marjorie Taylor Greene has finally come down on the right side of one single issue, being the Jeffrey Epstein files should be released, is watching moderates and centrists and all kinds of other people basically saying, oh my God, she's had a total conversion. We should welcome her into the party with open arms, in a completely unironic manner. So earlier today, she put out a 15-minute long, 20-minute long video stating that she is resigning from the House of Representatives effective January 5th. And she started off her little talk on that video by making a lot of really good points. Americans are being used by both parties, cycle after cycle after cycle. Each side breeds hate against the other. The results are always the same. Nothing gets better for the bottom 90%. National debt skyrockets. Corporations get what they want. Defense contractors get what they want. And then she kind of dipped her toe into replacement theory a little bit. She said American jobs are being replaced by illegals and H-1B visa holders, or they're just being shipped overseas. And then she kind of got back and said, small businesses are being crushed. They're being gobbled up by corporations. Taxpayer dollars are going to fund foreign wars, foreign aid, foreign interests. The dollar keeps declining. Today's kids are hopeless. No economic future. And then she starts talking about how she was elected in 2020. Like her third day in Congress was January 6th, 2021. She has a very conservative record. She defends the First Amendment, defends the Second Amendment, defends unborn babies, because God says that life begins at conception. She's for strong, safe borders. She fought against COVID tyrannical insanity, mandated vaccinations and masks. So there's your rational team switcher right there. First year into Trump's second term, the majority has been sidelined. 8 weeks shut down, not working. Now we're entering into campaign season. Everybody's going into safe re-election mode. And she rails on the shutdown a little bit. And then she talks about the legislation that she has proposed that Mike Johnson refuses to bring to the floor for a vote. Like having a new census count that doesn't include any illegals. Making English the official language of the United States. And this one's a direct quote, making it a felony to medically trans minors. So now the word trans has become a verb. And she's proposed legislation to eliminate all H-1B visas. So there, right there, everybody, all of you centrist fart huffers, that's the real Marjorie Taylor Greene, who you guys now want to throw open the doors and welcome in to the Democratic coalition. Then she went back to making some good points. The speaker never brings up her bills. Maybe because they're crazy, Marjorie. Everybody sees inflation going up, groceries going up, rent going up. People are getting outbid on houses by corporations. And then she kind of went back the other way a little bit. She said millions of Americans are being laid off from their jobs after being forced to train their foreign visa replacement. She really fucking hates brown people. College degrees only equal debt, no job, there's more homelessness, no health insurance. She represents real Americans in her almost all-white Trumpy district. And then she said, I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die because of dangerous open border invasion. First of all, it's the Secretary of Homeland Security. Second of all, she's never ever watched anybody die. Third, and then she went on to say, I led the effort to defund biased NPR and PBS and corrupt USAID as the chair of the DOJ subcommittee. Over the last 20 years around the globe, USAID has saved 91 million lives. Since America, Elon Musk, and Marjorie Farthuffer Greene completely defunded and eradicated USAID just this past February, 600,000 people around the world have died. And she thinks that's something to put in the plus column. She went on to say she fought harder than anyone to elect Donald Trump, and she showed up to New York City to confront a raging leftist mob as Donald Trump faced egregious leftist lawfare, where he was put on trial after being indicted for 34 felony counts, and after prosecutors presented their evidence to a jury, they convicted him on 34 felony counts for paying off two women who he fucked outside of his marriage to Melania. One, while Melania was pregnant with Barron Trump, he paid each one of them $130,000 apiece in order to conceal his mushroom dick escapades outside of his marriage from voters in the 2016 election. So he tried to fuck with the 2016 election too. But she felt that that was unfair. So, meanwhile, establishment Republicans who secretly hate Donald Trump and stab him in the back are all welcomed in to the administration while she is being shunned. She does not like being shunned. Being shunned is making her sad. She then went on to say that she left her dying mother's side to vote no on the second impeachment for January 6th. She said, I have never changed. Release the Epstein files. No H-1B visas. No 50-year mortgages. No foreign wars. Other than that, I'm 100% MAGA. Loyalty should be a two-way street. America first should mean only Americans. And by only Americans, she means only white people. Standing up for the Epstein victims shouldn't result in being called a traitor by the president, who I fought for. My self-worth is defined by God. Apparently, she found a God who's just as racist, bigoted, transphobic, and homophobic as she is. Then she went on to say how she has fought against the Democrats and their Green New Deal and the trans agenda that's coming for our women and children. That's right, man. I've known a lot of trans people in my lifetime, and if there is one thing that I can say about all of them, is my God, they fucking hate women and children. I'm kidding, of course. She said that her anti-trans agenda has resulted in nonstop attacks,
I'm calling it right now. Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned because she didn't want to vote to impeach. And I think what she said was true about not wanting her district to endure the wrath of Donald Trump. But what I heard from her loud and clear is that she knows that there is going to be a vote to impeach and remove him. And she doesn't want her district to suffer because of it. Also, I do think she's scared of her own party. Far more than she was ever scared of the Democrats. And even though I think she's scared of her own party and the president, I don't think she was pushed out. I don't think she was threatened to resign. I think she resigned of her own volition, but I think it's because she's afraid of what would happen to her if she voted to impeach him. And I don't even think she'd be the only one to vote yes. But because of her history with him, she would become a target. And she's terrified. And of course, just because of who she is, honestly, even though she's had a backbone when it comes to the Epstein files, I think this is far more about her trying to save her own ass than it is about trying to save her district and her constituents from a lot of heartache and drama at the hands of Donald Trump.
All right, at this point, if you are holding on to a breaking news story that is tied to politics or Bravo Housewives, I know that sounds crazy together, but those are important to me. If you are holding on to a breaking news story tied to those topics, I need you to hold it till Monday because I don't have time to be doing videos on all these breaking news stories. This is way too much for one Friday. Way too much. I'm over here trying to even read everything to talk about intelligently what's going on in the Texas map situation because that is now at the Supreme Court. Alito put a temporary pause. Temporary. It's not a block. It's a temporary pause on the case. And then I see this. Marjorie, the menace, is stepping down from Congress. Now, hear me. Some of y'all, as she has tried to be more serious and tone down the antics, some of y'all have been over here like, oh, we need to embrace Marjorie and all that. Not me, because I said, I got a long memory. I remember you up there harassing David Hogg. Didn't like that. Talking crazy about Jasmine. Didn't like that. Cutting up at the State of the Union. Cutting up. Being incredibly unprofessional and childish. I ain't forgot. And so all this new stuff, I said, I don't trust it. Now, what has been very clear is that she has been getting threats from the MAGA base. She's talked about that. And so I guess the pressure was too much for old Marjorie. So she's stepping down. There's more to this story for sure. And I don't know if we'll ever know the full story about what happened. But yeah. And this has been a pattern. If you go back to Trump's first term, there were two senators and I can see their faces. I think Ben Sass was one. There were two senators that were always challenging him. And guess what happened to them? They didn't run for re-election. You had Liz Cheney, all that. So it's a long line of people who openly challenge Trump who end up out of Congress either getting voted out or stepping down and not running for re-election. So there's definitely more to this story. I don't have sympathy or empathy for Marjorie. If you out here doing what's right and talking about this man not focusing on accountability and all that, I think, hey, I'm not going to give you a cookie for doing what you should be doing as a member of Congress. But here we are. This is probably going to be a big topic. Well, she kind of dropped it in a week where it could fizzle, because next week is Thanksgiving. People be worried about more important things than what Marjorie Taylor Greene got going on. So we'll see if we get the full story about this. But yeah, interesting to say the least.
Do you think the way Marjorie Taylor Greene was just made an example of is going to resonate with any conservatives? Like, are any of them going to wake up and be like, hey, that's kind of fucked up. Like, that could happen to me next because what happened to her was completely unnecessary. They all voted to release the files. He signed the bill to release the files. Had she just waited a little bit and not said anything, it all would have gone her way anyway, but she didn't. She stuck to her principles, and as much as I think her beliefs are horrific 99.9% of the time, I will give her credit that she did not back down and that she stood up for what she believed, despite the fact that she knew what could happen. And he fucking destroyed her entire career because of it. And I think it was him making an example of her. Like, if you go against me, I will do this to you too. And you would think that that would make people be like, hey, maybe this guy we're riding for isn't so great after all, because look what he'll do to someone who devoted their entire career to him. But they won't. They'll just think it's not going to be me. It's not going to be me until it's them.
Marjorie Taylor Greene is done. She announced tonight on social media that she is resigning from Congress come this January. She said she doesn't want to stick around to see the Republicans probably lose midterms, and that she generally just doesn't align with what's going on with the economy, with what's going on with the overall sense of Congress. And she just had her public feud with Donald Trump a few days ago, and she today is resigning. It does make me wonder, though. I'm still super skeptical of who this woman is and what happened to make her have such a huge turnaround. I do know that her boyfriend is a reporter, which makes me question if he came upon something factual that had to do with either the Epstein files or Donald Trump himself or a Republican in a compromising situation, but something triggered her to be completely done, and I can only be grateful for that.
So here's where I'm at. I've never trusted Marjorie Taylor Greene, not once. She's never been someone I trust with anything important. And honestly, every time I think about her, I picture that moment at the State of the Union where her and Lauren Boebert standing up screaming at Joe Biden, and she's wearing that ridiculous white coat that made her look like she just walked in wrapped up in her comforter. That's who she is. That's the energy she brought to Congress. And now she's walking away in January, which tells you everything about what's happening inside her own party. They are not stable right now. They are splitting, and she's basically admitting it on the way out the door. And remember, this is a deep red district. We're not getting a reasonable replacement here. It's going to be another MAGA clone. So she's not leaving because she suddenly cares about her district. She's leaving because she sees the writing on the wall. Trump turned on her. His base turned on her. Her base probably did too. I don't know. Her power was fading really fast, and she didn't want to get embarrassed in a primary. So yeah, I've never trusted her, but even she bailing out tells you how rough things look behind the scenes right now. Just saying.
Whoa. I just saw that Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has announced her resignation from the House of Representatives of the United States of America. I watched the entire 10-minute video of this announcement. She states what she's believed in, what she's always believed in, her feud with President Donald Trump, although she's been one of his major supporters since she's been in the House, and then what she believes in now. And too much hasn't changed. And the things she fought for, the policies she's fought for, the committee she served on, and how passionate she is about the constituents of Congressional District 14 in Georgia. What I will say in her video and how she's presented to be a congresswoman over her tenure is Marjorie Taylor Greene has always or projected herself to be a fighter. So although I'm not a fan of her, although I saw there seemed to be a turning of the tide as of recent, but now we're seeing she just called it quits. I'm disappointed in the sense of, one, you're from Georgia. So you're not my personal congressperson, my personal representative, because I'm in District 5. But as a Georgian, we're not quitters. So if you to quit, that's disappointing. And for a representative to quit like this, if I'm not mistaken, she had 2 or 3 more years to go in her term. It tells me a few things. One, like I said, you can't handle the pressure. And I know you're in a unique situation that a lot of other Congress people aren't. I understand that. But two, it tells me that this may have been just too much. Like nobody else is really going through what you're going through. So I can't understand what the threats are, what the pressure's like, what the fears are. But in your speech, and again, how you presented yourself to the public, is you're built for it. Even in your video, you're like, you present it as if politics is just too fake, which I'll give you that. There's too many corporate interests, too many foreign interests. The everyday people that you claim to represent the 14th congressional district, you're saying their needs are not being met. And I get all that. But do you think they're going to be better served with someone who you claim to be for them, no longer in the seat? Or would they be better with somebody like you remaining in the seat? And this is not a defense of Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'm just taking her words and who she's presented to us to be and juxtaposing this against the resignation. I'm just in disbelief because I said you were a tough cookie, and resigning. I know you provided rationale. I know you provided reasoning, but I don't think both can exist. You got to be one. Are you a quitter or you a soldier? And right now you're a quitter. But I know you got lots. I think you got some decent stock options. I know you're good financially, and of course, because of this feud with President Donald Trump, because of your feud with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, because of your resignation, I know that book is on the way. So we know what happens when politicians get those book deals. You're definitely going to be set. You're going to go on a book tour. You're going to sell this. You're going to be doing interviews galore. We know how it goes. So to my former Georgia Congresswoman, well, her last day is January 5th in 2026. But hey, God bless you. And hey.
So I'm going to give my prediction. Marjorie Taylor Greene is dropping out, of course, after she gets her pension, whatever day that is in January, and after she made all that millions from insider trading. She's not dropping out because of what's happening with Donald Trump turning on her. She's dropping out because she's going to run for president. She's not going to run for governor. She's got a bigger platform and a louder voice than pretty much any governor in the United States, short of Gavin Newsom right now. She's going for the big presidential run. Now, she's going to be a force to be reckoned with because she's, say what you will about her, she's extremely articulate. She makes what are considered killer points to the MAGA base, or we should say the new America First base that she's growing. When she's standing up there on the stage during the Republican primaries, she's going to give all of the men a run for their money. Okay? What's interesting is that I don't think too many Democratic candidates can out-debate her. Zohra Mamdani is one of the only ones that come to mind. They're going to have to be very sharp and articulate and intelligent, and the typical Democratic establishment talking points crafted by the consultation class is just going to fail miserably standing next to Marjorie Taylor Greene. But yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene announced that she's retiring or resigning January 5th, 2026. Now let's listen to her and dive into it.
Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue.
You know what? She's not wrong. But that's not the only case in the United States. It's also here in Canada. Both the Liberal Party and the Conservative Party divide this country. And the common regular people, Canadians like me and you, don't get ahead. It's the corporations and the special interest groups and the billionaires that get ahead. This is the very reason why we have to lift up a third party back into Parliament to rein in and act as a check and balance to our system.
I have too much self-respect and dignity.
Well, that's debatable.
And I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after
Trump called for her to be primaried, and they will throw shit tons of money to get her out of office. She knows Trump's impeachment is coming. When? I don't know. But it's coming. But this is her way of sticking the middle finger to Trump and leaving with the last laugh, which is going to infuriate Trump. Let me explain. The House of Representatives have a narrow margin. The Republicans currently have 219 seats. They need 218 votes to pass legislation. If they lose one vote, they're borderline on 218, and they can't afford to lose any Republican on any piece of legislation. But more importantly, if she resigns, Georgia is going to have a special election. The 14th Congressional District of Georgia will likely have a special election in March or April, and it's probably going to be flipped blue. So Donald Trump will have to deal with another Democratic wave coming his way, probably in March. Now, her term wasn't up until 2027, but she's leaving now, and she's doing it in style. Anyways, stay deadly.
What does it tell me that Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned last night? That she's politically savvy, that she knows that the ship is going down. But I also knew she was thinking that way a couple months ago. I could tell when, she was on Tucker's show and a couple other places. I'm like, she can see there's blood in the water. And that's why I say she's politically savvy. But she can use the whole thing about death threats and stuff like that to have a good reason to step away. And this way she won't be primaried. She can stay out of line of fire of Trump, because there are MAGA that are mad at her for being a traitor and that what a quitter that she's leaving. But there's a lot of people that want her to run for president on that side. They're the people that woke up to Israel from Charlie Kirk, or that have been waking up to Trump since the beginning, and they've left him, but they're still Republican. And so they've been looking for a new leader, and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Thomas Massie are stepping right into that. And they know that ship's crumbling, and they don't want to be attached to it in any way. So if they can step out of there for a while and be doing podcasts and talk shows and be talking more about unity and ways to work together versus, having this war going on, it will serve them. Tucker's doing the same thing. Candace is doing the same thing. Nick Fuentes is doing the same thing. Those five, I would say, are pretty politically savvy. Cuckoo, but politically savvy. And something I think is really interesting that I'm seeing them do is they're trying to take things from the right and things from the left and saying, this is what we should be doing. My main example is Nick Fuentes. So I tell you guys to watch him because he's really interesting, and you can see what their party's doing through watching him. And people come on here and go, you're going to get brought into him. I don't know how you get sucked in by Nick Fuentes. He's a cuckoo. He's very interesting. I think he's charismatic in his own way. But you can listen to him and go, wow, that really makes sense. And then he just says something so god-awful that it's like a punch in the face. Like, you already know he's awful, but then when he says it again, you're like, oh my God. So I don't know who could be taken in by him. But, he's saying we should do a deal with the left. Let's give up our free market. Let's get universal health care. Let's get, colleges paid for, all the stuff that the left, promotes, good wages, get people to work. And on the right, we get to keep immigration. Like, we want closed borders. We don't want any more immigration. We don't want the visas. We want just America first. And we don't want any more like money going to Israel, stuff like that. And because all of that polls really high. And that's kind of where they're coming from. Like, let's take the things that poll the best and put them all together and then run that way. And I think that's really smart. Will it work? I don't know about that. But, you know, even Laura Loomer's like, yeah, so Trump has killed us off for the midterms. And now, once he did that with Mom Donnie yesterday, she's like, and we just lost the 2028 election, which in my view, it's already lost. He's fucked. Even Fox News this morning was just like, wow, did you see Trump with Mom Donnie? I bet JD Vance was jealous. Like, everybody saw it. To me, Trump acted exactly like Trump. Remember Trump and Obama at the funeral? Like, they're just yucking it up. I mean, this is politics. I don't know why you guys are making this deeper than it is. You know, it's Alzheimer's. He didn't think that was Mom Donnie. Like, no, this is what he does. He talks shit online and to the press. And then in public, he's very gushy. And I know people want to use Zelensky as an example of him not doing that, but he was also trying to perform for Putin at that time. He hadn't been in that long, so he was trying to put on his tough guy stance, and you had JD Prant and they're going, you should be thankful. Like, it was so fucking cringe, but that was them trying to do a performance for Putin. But that's really the only time you've ever really seen that. Otherwise, he just sits and gushes and protects them in front of the press. And you can call me fascist, bad boy. Like, this is a game to them. This is how they operate. So you are going to start seeing political realignments. And I think more voices are going to come forward like, hey, maybe we could take some of that from over there and some of that from over there and make this all work together so that they feel like they haven't completely caved to the communists. You know what I mean? So it is super interesting. And I said in another video, like, when I go on there now, it is much harder for me to tell where people are coming from. Are they MAGA? Are they America First? Or are they Democrats? It gets more confusing. The language has now blended. It's very blurry. That never was the case before. I mean, in February, the first alarm I heard was people were starting to complain a little bit about Trump. And you never, ever heard that before he was sworn in. Never. Not one time. I never heard that. And then it was kind of like, why is he doing that? Well, I don't like what he's doing with the tariffs. I don't like, why this? Why this? And once I heard that, I knew it was over. I knew it was over because cults don't do that, and they're not open about challenging their leaders. The cults leave in silence. So the fact that they were willing to say that in a live or in a comment or on a message board, that's all I needed to know. And now it's just very open, and you have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who know that he's toast. And she knows that JD is with Trump. She knows Trump's fucked, JD's fucked. She's, out against the tech bros. Like, she's playing this so smart. And it's so funny because did we not think that maybe she planted the bomb? Was it the DNC, around January 6th or that night? Like, this is a wild ride. Hollywood could never compete. They could never compete. So, and imagine, how much more time do we have? Yeah. You better stay rested.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene is out. I mean, I made that post the other day about her and how shocking it was to hear her apologize to the American public about the way she sort of behaved and whatnot. And then she's had this falling out with Trump. And, I had no idea what her future plans were. And after today, I'm even more confused. She is resigning from her seat in Congress in Georgia. Which, brings up another thing. They're going to have to probably have a special election. And who knows if another Republican will get in there or if it's going to be Democrat. I think she's trying to help the Democrats at this point. She kind of says she's mad at both sides. But, the whole Epstein thing really blew the whole thing open. And she has intimated that there have been threats against her life. So she is done in January of 2026, really just a couple months away. pretty shocking. And I haven't heard anything from the White House yet. I don't know what you think. What do you think she's up to? You think she's going to take a little break and then run for the Senate or something? Or I can't imagine that she's just leaving politics. But I don't know. What do you think? Like this, share this, but for sure a comment. I want to know what everybody thinks Marjorie Taylor Greene's next move is.
Marjorie Taylor Greene just announced that she will be resigning from Congress January 5th, 2026. And baby, you can't tell me this ain't got nothing to do with those Epstein files. Marjorie Taylor resigning was not on my bingo card for 2025, and I damn sure know it was not on yours. And trust me when I tell you that we are going to see a whole lot more resignations after this, because this is just the beginning, baby. When we started opening up those can of worms when it came down to those Epstein files, we had no clue what the hell we was messing with. Let me just say this. I am a Marjorie Taylor Greene girl. I do not care what beef her and Trump supposedly had. I still rocks with sis. If you know anything about her, you know that she is very intelligent. So whatever she has planned next, baby, I can guarantee you that it's going to be big. I don't know if it's governor. I don't know if it's senator. Damn, it could be president. Because at this point, 2025 politics is absolutely wild. And if this is what we're looking at right now in 2025, what the hell do 2026 look like? All I'm going to tell y'all is be ready for what's about to come, because, baby, we ain't seen nothing yet. Do you hear me? Big ups to Marjorie Greene, man. I wish you the best, queen.
You guys, a lot of you said that Marjorie Taylor Greene was only in support of these files being released and all of these progressive policies because she was up for re-election, and you're wrong, because about an hour ago she turned in her resignation letter to Congress, and she said she's pretty much done with the whole charade. And she has been very vocal lately about all the things she doesn't agree with, and she's broken the ranks with the Republicans many times, including not being supportive of the government shutdown, not being supportive of the insurance premium hikes, and most of all, she's been very supportive of the release of these files and of the victims of these files. And when the vote happened a few days ago, President Trump called her a traitor, and she says that since then she has endured so many threats and so much hate, and her family has endured so many threats and so much hate. And as if that wasn't enough, she is just very concerned that her district is going to have to endure a very hateful and divisive primary, because she's very aware that that's what President Trump's intentions are against her for all of this. And she wants to spare them of that. And also, she's just pretty disgusted with the whole thing. She says that neither party really have our best interests at heart, and it's all a show. They're all compromised, and she wants nothing to do with it. So turns out she wasn't really just doing all of this for re-election, you guys. She actually woke up to her conscience, and I think a lot more people need to start doing that, because we're not headed in a good direction, and we need a lot more people to speak up. So God bless Marjorie Taylor Greene, and God bless America.
Nobody should be celebrating Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning from Congress. I think she's one of the worst members of Congress, and I disagree with her on almost everything she stands for. But she has a right to say what she believes in. And for the President of the United States to call her a traitor, threaten her, bully her, and push her out of being in politics because she had the audacity to stand up for women who were trafficked and raped is un-American and against everything we stand for in this country. The nature of representation is that if her constituents don't like how she's representing them, they should be able to vote her out in the next election cycle. But for her to feel that she has to resign because of the compromising political situation she's been put in by the president is the canary in the coal mine for American democracy. This woman's a fighter, even if I don't like what she fights for, but her holding up a white flag is helping Trump to send the final message to every other Republican. You can either stand up for your own beliefs and get out, or you can stand with Trump. We aren't going to flip Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat blue. A district that elected her with a nearly 30-point margin isn't going to vote Democrat in the next election. I've seen a lot of people excited about this idea tonight, and I'm going to hold your hand when I say this, that Georgia's 14th has voted for the Republican by pretty large margins in every statewide election since the district's inception some 15 years ago. Not to mention that she replaced Tom Graves, who is ranked more conservative than 95% of Republicans in the 116th House. While Georgia's 14th may have elected her with about 65% of the vote in the last election, 8 out of the 10 counties that comprise her district voted between 70 and 85% for Donald Trump. Is anything possible? Yeah, but flipping Marjorie Taylor Greene's seat blue in a district that has been reliably, overwhelmingly voting Republican for years is about as likely as flipping Nancy Pelosi's San Francisco seat red.
Now real quick, y'all want to see a dead body? Look, exactly. Earlier today, Zoran McDaddy was in the Oval Office with Slump. And let this be a lesson to you all that are caping and cowering for a corpse, okay? He has no juice. Do you hear me?
Who got the
and
juice
you all
now?
have bent the knee preemptively for no reason at all. He even gave Zoran the go ahead and call him a fascist to his face. Because Zoran said, I said what I said, and I'm not changing it. Okay? I need you all to understand that. If you give a bully your lunch money, they will continue to take your lunch money. But if you stand in their face 10 toes down on what you said and what you're not doing, they're going to fold every time like an Alabama brawl chair. Do you hear me? I need you all to take notes, all right? All right.
Big breaking news into the Don Lemon Show newsroom. Marjorie Taylor Greene just resigned from Congress. She tweeted it out on her official congressional Twitter account, citing all of the things she thinks is wrong with America and the economy, and saying that working class people, poor people are getting screwed. This is a direct rebuke to Donald Trump. She says she has no plans for anything right now except to go back to spend time with the people that she loves. She says she will be resigning from Congress in January, the first week in January. More details are coming in. Stay tuned for an update.
Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged, because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God, who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention.
So self-awareness is not her thing.
They are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility.
I agree, but probably would have left off that second part.
My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. With that has brought years of nonstop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family, but it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms.
Well, okay, there it is. She sees them going down, and why waste her time?
And in turn, be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me.
A lot of people never wake up from narcissistic abuse. You probably know people like this. They just bury themselves so deep into accepting this bubble they live in that it's... But waking up's a painful process.
It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better.
It takes on average 7 attempts for a woman to leave an abusive relationship. I mean, it took her, 10 years?
If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well.
People in Trump's orbit have said that he cringes having to be around normal people.
There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played.
I knew it!
When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it.
So what, do we just drop you a tweet? Or is there like a bat signal you're gonna have?
Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
Not gonna lie, if she starts a podcast, I'm listening to that one.
I want to talk about this Marjorie Taylor Greene thing. Please allow me a moment to get to where I'm going with this. I think every human being has their limit, even conservatives. Conservatives at large only care when it touches them, when it affects them. And Marjorie Taylor Greene has always been very loud about her anti-predator stances, right? This has been something that I feel like she's been loud about since the beginning, since, pizza shops in New York basements days, right? But I feel like that's always been kind of genuine, and she actually believed that. Over time, it almost looks like she's come to terms with the fact, as she's gotten more access to information, I feel like she's come to terms with the fact that anger, that frustration was very misguided, and she's starting to realize who the actual perpetrators are. I don't know if something happened. I don't know if it's public or not. I don't know if she experienced something that this causes this to be very, very close, near and dear to her heart, right? Like you can take people like Chris Christie. As bad as Chris Christie is, Chris Christie has very sane takes on, drug legislation because it's something that's very near and dear to him. So for Marjorie Taylor Greene, realizing this, and then having to come to terms with the fact that the second everything conservatives do isn't totally okay with you, that they will turn on you, her saying that she wants to retire so that she doesn't endure the wrath of MAGA, I feel like that's pretty authentic. I feel like she realizes that unless you're carrying water for the party, unless you can 100% toe that party line, they're going to come for you. And I just find it so interesting that she seems to be the one. Again, it could turn out I'm very, very wrong, but I find it interesting that someone who, by and large, has shown themselves to not be a good human being in any capacity seems to have a line that she is not willing to cross, but also will still protect the party by resigning, seemingly so that someone else can get in her space. She doesn't want to keep standing up against the party. She's going to sort of abdicate and let somebody else in that's probably worse than her, because MAGA constituents at large have demonstrated they don't care. And I just find this all very interesting that she, of all people, seems to have found a stance on something that she can't be swayed on, but instead of standing on it, she's going to throw that power away and let someone probably worse take the lead.
So you're telling me after everything that happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene, now all of a sudden she steps down? After her falling out with Donald Trump because she disagrees on foreign lobbying, and she protects the First and Second Amendment. She said she was being threatened, was casted out by MAGA, and now she resigns. The same woman who defended Trump for 6 years nonstop. The moment she stands for America First, Randy Fine says, one down, more to go. At this point, they might as well move to the place they're loyal to. And if this doesn't anger you, you have no idea what's going on in this country. She steps down and announces her resignation right after pushing for the Epstein files to be released. Her and Thomas Massie both. Now billionaire donor Miriam Adelson is funneling $20 million to push Thomas Massie out. You don't have to love Marjorie Taylor Greene, you don't even have to like her, but you should be asking why suddenly everyone who steps out the foreign interest line gets targeted. And if you still think that Donald Trump is the outsider he pretends to be, ask yourself why the same people he claims to fight keep getting protected, while the ones who actually question the system keep getting eliminated. That tells you everything you need to know.
We have breaking news coming in right now, and this is something that is surprising many people, and it's involving Marjorie Taylor Greene, a congresswoman from Georgia. She just announced she's resigning. She will be leaving Congress. Her last day, I believe, is January 5th, either the 5th or 6th. Sorry if I get that wrong. This news is just coming out moments ago. And you may know that Marjorie Taylor Greene and President Trump, they have broken apart over the past few weeks. Big time broken apart. She posted a video on her social media pages talking about how she just can't do it anymore, that she is not happy with the way things are running in Congress. She talked about how it's affecting her family, and she said she used to be a supporter of President Trump, but that obviously has waned now. And she said that it's a very sad situation, but she will be leaving on, I believe it's January 5th or 6th. Make sure you're following me right here. This news just coming in. What do you think about this? Let me know in the comments.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene resigned,
That's interesting. She claims that the government, neither Republicans nor Democrats, are putting America or Americans first. And no matter which side holds the majority in the government, things continue to get worse and worse and worse for the American people. You know what? I agree. But I also wasn't really expecting her to resign. I kind of expected her to continue the fight, fighting for the American people, fighting for America first. And even though the president's been going after her lately, calling her a traitor, threatening that he won't support her if she runs again, I still expected her to keep up the good fight. And I was hopeful that in the future we'd have more congressmen and women just like her, who are brave and bold and genuinely concerned about the American citizens and putting them first. So yeah, something feels really strange about this. My theory is that she was forced to resign. That's just my theory. I'm not saying that's what happened. But yeah, I feel like she was forced to resign. And you know, you can say whatever you want about how she made $24 million in the last however long. They all have. They're all making way too much money. But I stand with her because I've always stood for the American people. And so is she. So what's going on?
Hold up. Breaking news. Marjorie Taylor Greene will be resigning from her seat in the House as of January 5th because of the bullshit she's gone through with Trump. What? What? Oh, God. This could mean so many different things. Like, she's trying to get out of the way because she really thinks she's got a political future. So she's trying to get out of the job she already has. But I hope America sees what's fucking happening. I hope you see what's happening. I hope this is absolutely true. I hope it's absolutely true. She should never have been there for as long as she was anyway, because she was running on her pose. God, but a little bright nugget on this beautiful day. I got to see Wicked for good, and now Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to be resigning.
We have some major news. Marjorie Taylor Greene just announced that she is resigning from Congress in 2026. Out of nowhere tonight, Marjorie Taylor Greene posted a 10-minute video, a statement saying, "My message to Georgia's 14th District and America, thank you." And in her statement, she said, "I've always represented the common man and woman in America as a member of the House of Representatives. I don't know about all that, and the results are the same no matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat. Nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman." This statement is 4 pages long. On the last page, she says, "With that has brought years of nonstop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander, and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me and especially my family, but to my district as well. Until then, I'm going back to the people I love to live life to the fullest, as I always have, and look forward to a new path ahead. I will be resigning from office, with my last day being January 5th, 2026. Now, of course, Donald Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene have completely turned on each other recently, which I imagine was a big motivator for this decision. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, the lunatic that she is, will no longer be in Congress in the new year. This is crazy, just really out of nowhere.
Huge breaking news. Marjorie Taylor Greene is leaving Congress. Now, this comes to us directly from Marjorie Taylor Greene herself, who announced on Twitter that she is no longer going to be a member of Congress. And she's not staying till the end of her term. She's leaving much sooner. Take a listen.
I'll be resigning from office, with my last day being January 5th, 2026.
Yeah, January 5th of next year, which means we have less than 2 months before one of the worst members of Congress is no longer in our hair. Now, she cites a lot of reasons, one of which being the political divisiveness that is caused by the members of Congress, saying that they force us to hate the other side. But she's been a key part of that. She has been one of the worst people when it comes to division and sowing division. She also attacks Trump about immigration and the cost of living and lying to the American people about how great things are. This is nothing but good news. While I know she's had a change of heart, she is still the same person, and I am absolutely happy to see her go.
I'm sorry, what? MAGA loyalist Marjorie Taylor Greene is resigning?
Then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest, as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office, with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
MTG is Mrs. Trump is my everything Congresswoman. This woman has been one of Trump's most loyal soldiers. She's defended him through every scandal, every investigation. She even got him re-elected. She has screamed Trump, Trump, Trump louder than his own family. And now she's done. She's tapping out. Why? Because Trump turned on her, called her a traitor. Why? Because she wanted the files released. She said loyalty should be a two-way street. Here's why this is huge. She knows the Republicans are going to lose the midterms. She knows that Trump is going to be impeached, and she's done defending him, especially when he has tried to nuke her career. This just shows us that when someone is that loyal to him, who is that loyal to the MAGA world, decides, yeah, this is too toxic even for me, that means the crack from this administration is starting from the inside. Trump's inner circle is not as solid as they all pretend it to be. MTG is jumping ship. Who's next? Who's tired of all the bullying, the chaos, and the lies? Good luck, MTG, but if I were you, I'd totally watch my back.
Joy, you cannot repent when you're supposed to repent. By the time you're done committing all the sins that you have committed in this life, you will now come back and say, Lord Jesus, accept my soul, be my Lord and personal Savior. God will still accept your soul. He will still forgive you. He will still forgive you. But we black people are humans, right? So forgiving you will be so hard. It will be so hard. And I get the point, like I said from the onset of this video, that she is trying to make it look like it's not all about the 2028 election. It is not all about that. It is all about my integrity. It is all about my truth. It is all about owning up to what I believe. I'm tired of saying this. I'm tired of saying that. That is absolutely what Marjorie Taylor Greene is actually trying to do. That is what she's trying to show us, that she is now a faithful servant. I don't know. Even if you're resigning, as you said, I feel like you have enjoyed a whole lot now. So what is even the point of you staying there? And apart from that, you have literally seen that the orange man has withdrawn his full support. And the moment he withdraw his full support, you already know that even if you're coming out that 2028, a lot of things is going to happen. So one of the things about this woman is she is smart enough to know how to make decision quick. So since she has gathered her millions, her billions, her trillions, the only thing for her to do now is she has seen that there is no going front and no going back. So instead of them to come shame her, she have to make it look like she's appealing to the black community. That is what I see. I don't know about you. That is what I see. She have to make it look like, okay, it has happened like this, and the only way now is, instead of me waiting to the point of where they are coming to shame me, let me literally just use my hand to shame them. There is no name that the orange man has not called her. I don't know. In some small little spaces, I still believe that, yeah, she is actually fighting for the right thing, because when all of this nonsense started coming up, blah, 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 and it started getting more heated is when they started talking more about the Epstein files. Right? So, but the thing is, this woman has literally not loved black community. I will keep saying it over and over again. Go watch her videos, interviews, podcasts, every single thing. Watch how she started her politics and every single damn thing. There is nothing this woman has literally done that she has done it for black people. It is for herself and for her folks. So that is why if black people are now saying that we don't trust you, we don't believe you, we don't even want to have anything to do with you, it is your business. If you're having a beef with them or you're not having any beef with them, go sort out yourself alone. I do not blame black people. And if you're among those ones blaming black people, suit yourself. After all, there are other black people that are supporting her. There are other black people that are with the orange man. Just because they want to sell out their integrity, just because they feel like they are trapped in this skin and they are seeing themselves as white that they can never be white. But for Marjorie Taylor Greene, if she like, let her resign, take all the properties of the White House back to them. In fact, return all the money and go broke to zero. I would never still trust her. Yeah, that's me. I say what I want to say. If you do trust her, fine, I understand. Everybody have their choice. Everybody have their way of believing. Anybody, right? But that's my own. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Credit belongs to original creators of every single clips and stitches we have in our today's episode. If you have not subscribed, subscribe, like this video, drop me your comment, and lastly, do not forget to share. And yes, with that being said, with no further ado, I'm going to be saying bye and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye guys. I love you guys. Mwah.